It is a gorgeous afternoon here in Pittsburgh as we get you set for Cubs baseball on WGN Sports. The Cubs today go for a sweep over the playoff contending Pirates, and we welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. And high atop PNC Park, Bob Brenly and Len Casper with you. Baseball's a funny game. We seem to say that every day. The Cubs got blasted in St. Louis, but they're going for the sweep here in Pittsburgh.
And believe it or not, they really haven't swung the bats that well here in Pittsburgh. One thing that worked to their advantage is their patience. They've drawn 8 walks in the first 2 games of this series. 3 of those guys came around to score, but you look at those numbers, and thank goodness for outstanding pitching, and we've seen a bunch of that in this series.
And Ryan Dempster hopes to continue that. Samardzija and Mahalam have been excellent, and Dempster leading the league in ERA, still a Cub.
And we'll see what kind of attention and focus he can have tonight. You see the improvement he's made this season over his career numbers between 98 and 2011. Huge differential, but as I said, a lot of distractions for Ryan Dempster right now.
And for the Pirates, right-hander Kevin Correa on a career-best 5-game winning streak, but over his last 4, he's been getting a ton of support.
Yeah, needs to send thank you notes to his offense. They've been putting big runs on the board for Kevin Correa.
So on Monday, Jeff Samardzija set the tone for the series. 8 innings, just 1 hit. Paul Mahalam went 8, gave up 1 run last night. Ryan Dempster goes today. We'll have all the action next. Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. The Illinois Lottery. Do you believe in the power of possibility? The Illinois Lottery. Anything's possible. And by Ford, manufacturers of more fuel-efficient vehicles than any other brand. Check them out at your local Ford store or online at localfordstores.com. Chicago Cubs baseball in high definition is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Cubs with 8 runs in the first 5 games on this trip, but a chance for a 500 journey. Now the Cubs Pepsi lineup brought to you by Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Biggest change is no Alfonso Soriano. 4 RBIs in the series. He's going to get a couple of days off as Tony Campana will make the start in left. Get the Pirates defense here in a second as veteran righty Kevin Correa is set to work against David DeJesus.
Look at the Pirates defense quickly. Alex Presley, Andrew McCutchen, Garrett Jones across the outfield left to right. Alvarez, Barmas, Walker, and McGee third to first across the infield. Michael McHenry doing the catching today, and he'll be receiving pitches from right-hander Kevin Correa.
And we're underway. Correa turns 32 in about a month. From San Diego, 6'3", 210.
3 consecutive years of double-digit victories, 12, 10, and 12. Also double-digit losses, 11, 10, and 11.
Yeah, he was an all-star last year. He won 11 games in the first half. In the second half, did not go well. 1-4 with a 7.23 ERA before his season ended in mid-August due to a strained oblique. Clint Hurdle found out yesterday that his team had made a trade for left-hander Wandy Rodriguez of the Houston Astros in exchange for 2 minor league pitchers and a minor league outfielder. So Rodriguez will join the Pirates in Houston as they start a 4-game series tomorrow night. He was scheduled to pitch against the Pirates on Saturday. The Pirates have not made any formal announcement as to when he will make his Pirate debut. Hit well to right and caught. A tumbling catch by Garrett Jones. That ball was smoked by DeJesus.
Garrett Jones, a guy that's in the Pirates lineup not for his glove but for his left-handed power bat, but makes a nice running diving catch as that ball was headed toward the right field corner.
It'll bring up Starlin Castro, homered last night. 1 for 5. It's the first pitch tonight, but a ground ball right at Clint Barmas. Chamber of Commerce weather, as they say, 78 degrees. Humidity not a problem. I don't see a cloud anywhere. Do you?
Well, we can't see behind our broadcast perch here, but yeah, it looks like a nice day in Pittsburgh. Hopefully it'll stay that way until the Cubs can bring home a victory and head back to Chicago.
We can't see behind us, but we see the rest of Pennsylvania from our perch as Anthony Rizzo fouls back.
Most of the eastern seaboard.
I asked Anthony today, how much video do you watch? He said, too much. He said he'll look at video of today's pitcher Kevin Correa and what guys do against Brian LaHair. He said most teams attack Rizzo like they go after LaHair, and when he does watch video of himself, he just watches the positive swings and results. We've talked about that many times. Why watch the bad stuff? Deep to right for Anthony Rizzo. Gone. He almost hit it completely out of the park, and it came on an 0-2.
Yeah, they'll definitely want to watch that swing on video. Boy, that was lightning quick on an 0-2 pitch.
I think he needed that. It's been a challenging trip for him.
All part of the adjustment of being a first-year big leaguer, or rather first-year big leaguer with the Cubs. Tried to come up and in with a fastball, caught a little bit too much plate, and Rizzo, no stride whatsoever, just used his hands and his upper body to drive that ball way out of here.
6th career home run. His first since he connected off Johan Santana in New York before the break, as LaHair hits a ground ball cut off by Alvarez, inning over. The Cubs grab the early lead once again on Rizzo's long home run. Far in this series, just one run. Presley, Walker, McCutchen, Garrett Jones with a home run last night supplying that tally. Casey McGee, the former Cub. Pedro Alvarez at third. You have McHenry catching today for Barajas. Clint Barmas, a shortstop, and Correa, the pitcher.
Let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively today. Behind Ryan Dempster, brought to you by Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Campana, De Jesus, and LaHare left to right across the outfield today. Valbuena, Castro, Barney, and Rizzo once again. Third to first across the infield. Steve Clevenger getting the nod behind the plate this afternoon. He'll be catching right-hander Ryan Dempster.
Been a pretty boring week for Ryan. As he faces Alex Presley, you noticed, as did I, there are a few guys in this lineup who've had his number. Yes, Alex Presley 5 for 7.
Yeah, really, Garrett Jones and Pedro Alvarez, the only 2 Pirate hitters that don't have either respectable or amazing numbers against Ryan Dempster.
Ryan suffered a 1-0 loss here on May 25th. As he couldn't buy a win over the first couple of months of the season. 2 balls and a strike. It was pretty widely reported that he was on his way to the Atlanta Braves, but it never happened. And for the time being, at least, he is still with the Cubs. Infield back, 2 strikes on Presley. Neil Walker on deck. Here it is. Ouch, fouled that one off his foot. Pirates came into this series, Bob, a half game out. Now they're 2.5 back. Cubs definitely have played spoiler here so far. The Reds have won 6 in a row. Pirates seem to be in much better shape than they were last year when they were contending. Run differential is in better shape. And as we mentioned, they added starting pitching with the acquisition of Wandy Rodriguez. They still may try to go out and get another bat, though.
Just a monumental fold in the second half of the season last year for the Pirates. They're hoping to avoid that same fate this year. If they do fold their tent like they did last year, I have to believe Clint Hurtt will be on the hot seat. If it happens once, you can maybe excuse it because your team wasn't familiar with being in a pennant race and maybe the pressure got to them. But if it happens 2 years in a row, they usually start pointing the finger at the manager.
Rizzo will take it to the bag.
Time to take a look at today's Mazda drive to victory and what the Cubs need to do today. It always starts on the bump. Jeff Samardzija with 8 strong innings in game 1. Paul Maholm 8 strong innings yesterday, hoping to get 8 strong out of Ryan today. And for the Pirates, they need to find some more offense. Neil Walker and Andrew McCutchen had been the linchpins of their offense. They've been held to 2 hits in this series, and one of those was an infield hit. Drive to victory brought to you by your local Chicagoland Mazda dealers. See your Chicagoland Mazda dealers for a test drive today at driveamazda.com. Andrew McCutchen with an infield hit against Jeff Samardzija in game 1 of this series, the only hit against Jeff Samardzija, and Neil Walker with a double in the 9th inning last night against Carlos Marmol. That's been the extent of their offense.
Well, there's some more. We are tied as Neil Walker just improved to 9 for 20 against Dempster in his career, and it's 1-1. Now the formula on Friday for the Cardinals was swing early and often against Dempster. They really ambushed him, hitting 3 runs, and Walker jumping all over the second pitch of his at bat.
Yeah, right in the middle of the plate, down a little bit where Walker likes it. We've talked about this ballpark in the past. You can get some cheap home runs in that direction toward right field. Line drive that time. about 3 rows back in the right field bleachers.
Now MVP candidate Andrew McCutchen. Cubs have done a nice job against him so far. He's 1 for 5, has walked twice, and has been caught stealing, leading the majors at 370, but he has swung and missed twice to start this at bat. Another year for Melky Cabrera. Carlos Ruiz, catcher of the Phillies, 3rd on that list. Fastball just outside, according to Andy Fletcher, the home plate umpire. Dempster had his 33 consecutive inning scoreless streak snapped in that first inning on Friday. After 5 straight scoreless starts, but came in today leading the majors with a 2.11 ERA.
You talked about the Cardinals ambushing Ryan Dempster in his last outing, scoring 3 in the first, and a lot of the hits they got were to the opposite field. It looked like they had picked something up on their video research or their advanced scouting, and a lot of the Cardinal hitters leaning out over the plate, driving the ball to the opposite field.
Well, Dempster had that long scoreless streak, and all of a sudden Paul Maholm's kind of taken over as the hottest Cubs starter. Last night won his 5th consecutive start. He's allowed 4 runs in his last 37 1/3 innings.
Well, watching Paul Maholm last night, a real good lesson for young pitchers out there. He really did it with 2 pitches basically all night. The cut fastball that moved into the right-handed hitter, and the 2-seam fastball moving the other direction away from the righties. He did mix in enough change-ups and breaking balls to keep the Pirates honest, but just commanded those 2 fastballs so well.
McCutchen couldn't hold up. That's a strikeout, 2 away.
Looked like McCutchen thought that was going to be a strike, started the bat, and then that late movement off the plate inside just could not hold up.
Are you ready for this? 2 games currently going on in the majors. This one and the Nationals and the Mets. 5 runs have been scored. I guess Atlanta and Miami just underway but scoreless. But of the 5 runs, they've all been solo home runs. Rizzo, Walker, Michael Morse, Danny Espinosa, Ike Davis. 0-2 on Garrett Jones. Donovan Solano playing 3rd base for the Miami Marlins today. Hanley Ramirez is heading to the Dodgers. Cole Hamels will stay with the Phillies, gets a 6-year extension worth $144 million. So a lot of action as we near the trade deadline. Phillies deciding to hang on to their lefty as the inning comes to an end. Walker tied it up with a home run, 1-1. Lead off the Cubs second. And there for Soto today. And he looks at a strike on the outside edge. Luis Valbuena and then Darwin Barney. Tony Campana in the lineup, as we mentioned. He's batting 8th today as he gets his first start in over 3 weeks. Cubs are off tomorrow, so Dale Swaim wanted to get Alfonso Soriano a couple of days off. So it's hard to do right now. Soriano's knocked in 4 runs in the series, but got to try to keep those legs fresh.
Boy, and they have been fresh. Soriano has looked really good physically, running the bases, playing defense in left field, coming up with some huge hits. Yeah, he could be the secret weapon today, too.
That's right.
Drop him in there as a pinch hitter when you really need a knock.
And a leadoff walk. And here is our AT&T UVerse replay. He had a couple of run-scoring doubles on Monday, but a 2-run blast last night to left. See what's possible with AT&T UVerse high-speed internet. AT&T, rethink possible. And he's a home run away from 20 for the 11th straight seasons.
Nice adjustment by Soriano as well. James McDonald last night, the starting pitcher for the Pirates, had a real good curveball through the middle innings of the game, and Soriano made an adjustment, hit a curveball for a home run. David DeJesus came up and got a hanging curveball and banged it down into the right field corner. Nice adjustment by the Cubs offensively last night against a tough pitcher.
Buena shows bunt, takes a strike. Chopper heading on through.
It's a high chopper.
Clevenger takes off, and this one backfires. Cubs had done that about 5 times on this trip successfully, but the rundown ends with Walker tagging him. I guess you just keep trying it until somebody catches you, right?
Yeah, the difference is that time Correa was paying attention to the base runner at first, peeking over his left shoulder at Clevenger as he broke for second base early. Last couple days, the Cubs base runners have been able to catch the Pirates pitchers napping out there on the mound. Some uncontested steals of second base.
Valbuena needs a knock. Hitless over his last 5 games. You can usually tell when a guy's in a slump by just looking at the way he wears his pants. He's got the pant bottoms old school right under the kneecaps. And he just seems to be in between right now. 2 down. Make sure you keep in touch. You can email us at lennonbob@tribune.com and follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. And if there's a new hot social media website that comes out this season, we'll add that to the list. Also, if you see us at the ballpark, you can say hi to us too.
That works. Yeah.
In person. Darwin Barney shoots one into the left field corner. That'll get Campana up with 2 outs. Barney now 7 for 17 against Correa.
Well, we noticed well throughout the season, but especially on this road trip, it seems like Darwin Barney has become a pet project of manager Dale Swaim. Dale, of course, his background is as a hitting coach, and has been trying to work with Darwin on his approach at the plate, the way he clears that front shoulder and front hip so quickly, trying to get him to stay closed just a little bit longer, hit the ball with a little more authority. Ringing double that time down into the left field corner.
Now Campana gets his first start since July 2nd in Atlanta. That was before the All-Star break. Cornerman in even with 2 outs. Respecting his bunting ability. 25 steals. He's in the top 4 in the major leagues, even though he's only played in 66 games. 7 bunt hits, 17 infield hits. Almost half his hits have been infield singles. He's got 41 hits on the year. 17 haven't left the infield.
Love to see Tony get on base somehow, get Ryan Dempster up to the plate here in the 2nd inning, clear that pitcher spot, roll back around to the top of the order in the 3rd.
Got him on the high fastball to end the inning. 1-1 early. Of the 2nd, the Allegheny River, right outside the ballpark. Make sure you check out our WGN Baseball blog, brought to you by Jeff Vukovich, nationwide agent serving the area for 33 years. Contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. I have some thoughts on the Ryan Dempster situation. We always have some good photos, our current podcast, and much more at WGNTV.com. That ball hit just foul. Casey McGee is a Pirate Parrot. Sitting in somebody's way.
Yeah, can I see your ticket, sir?
Big swing by McGee. Foul tipped into the mid. 0-2. McGee was blocked at third base with the Cubs by Aramis Ramirez, and then by Aramis with the Brewers after he signed a free agent deal. McGee was traded to the Pirates Been playing first base throughout this series. Yeah, I think he went. He did. Second strikeout for Dempster.
Hey fans, come watch the Cubs as they take on the Cardinals at Wrigley Field this Friday afternoon. Game time is 1:20, but you'll want to make sure to get there early. The first 10,000 fans will receive a Ron Santo Hall of Fame plaque, compliments of PNC. For more information and to purchase tickets, as always, visit Cubs.com.
The third baseman, Pedro Alvarez. It's a vicious cut. Strike one. Second overall pick out of Vanderbilt back in 2008. Got him. On a high fastball. Swung and missed at all three pitches. 2 down.
Well, that's just textbook right there. Pedro Alvarez, a very good middle in low ball hitter. Ryan Dempster just went right up the ladder, got him to chase a high fastball. All three pitches.
That'll bring up the catcher, Michael McHenry. Had a game-winning 3-run homer off Carlos Marmol last year on July 8th. First career home run. Did it in front of a sellout crowd here in Pittsburgh. More than half his hits this season have been extra base hits, including 6 of his last 8. Dempster's 2-1. High and deep, but way foul.
McHenry just the opposite of Pedro Alvarez. He's a real good high ball hitter. Will chase pitches down around the knees with some movement. Just because a guy's a high ball hitter doesn't mean you can't throw high pitches. You just have to throw them a little higher than he can handle. If a guy likes to hit a high fastball and you throw it a little bit higher than he can get the bat on, that's a good pitch.
Dempster fans the side. 1-1 at the end of 2.
brought to you by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. Tied at 1 as we head to the top half of the third inning. A couple of solo home runs accounting for both runs. Anthony Rizzo with an 0-2 blast to right field back in the first, and then Neil Walker with a line drive home run of his own into the right field bleachers to tie it up in the bottom of the first.
Fastball strike to Dempster. Alvarez moved to his right and gets it. Well, they frame downtown Pittsburgh so well when they built this park. Who knew Pittsburgh had such a beautiful skyline? Never got to see it at the old place.
Walking home from the ballpark last night, Len saw something that we haven't seen for a while here in Pittsburgh. We've talked about their attendance issues, and now that the team is playing much better, the attendance numbers are climbing right along with the Pirates. And I skipped the Roberto Clemente Bridge, which is the one we can see right beyond the center field fence, and went down to the next one, the Fort Pitt Bridge.
That's well hit out in the deep right center. It will go just over that yellow line, and a home run. And the Cubs lead 2-1. Or not? They saying fan interference? Yeah, they're going to put him back at second, and Dale's going to come out, and I'm guessing they will look at video replay.
I think they're going to have to on this one. We'll get a look at it before the umpires do. You see the fans leaning out there, and it's always hard to tell when that fan leans out into the field of play whether the ball would have cleared the yellow line on its own. I think it might have.
I think yes, but is it conclusive enough? We have the only telecast today, so the looks we have are the looks they will get. So they will head off to the video room.
Wouldn't this be a lot easier and quicker if we had a fifth umpire in the booth looking at a bank of monitors instead of walking down the tunnel to the monitor that the umpires use?
The thing about this ballpark, that area, a couple of sections just to the right of center, and in pretty much all of left field, you have the fans right up against the wall, which can create this type of situation really in every part of the park except for where the bullpens are and the batters are. And while you like that the fans can be right on top of the action, occasionally it is going to create a controversy like the one we just saw. I'm guessing it's going to be too close to reverse. His hands on it. It then hit the padding and went behind the barrier.
Well, I agree with David. I think it was a home run. It didn't appear to me that the fan, as he reached out over the yellow line, deflected it upward and back into the stands. It looks like it hit his hand and continued pretty much on the same path it was on and ended up in the bleachers.
This is one where, because the fan touched it, we're just never going to know if it would have gone out. The guess here is that it would have, but the call on the field right now is fan interference and a double for DeJesus.
Well, I've said in the past, Len, one way to avoid that particular situation is, instead of having the yellow stripe along the top, electrified razor wire would work well. I mean, you can't blame the fans, you know. Ball's coming in your direction, a chance to take home a souvenir. It's just instinct to try to catch that ball. That's one unfortunate byproduct of the efforts of the stadium builders and the organizations to try to get the fans closer to the action. Unfortunately, they get a little too close sometimes. Now, see, a delay like this would make me argue against instant replay.
Yeah, we should state again that the 3 umpires on the bases have gone in to check the video, and here they come. There is not a replay umpire, and Joe West is going to keep DeJesus at second. David not real happy.
Me neither. Now I have to change my scorecard. Well, the good news is David put a charge on that ball. Good to see him driving it out there in the gap in right center after he drove a double down the right field line last night. Really starting to hit the ball hard.
The biggest issue I had with that whole call was that the ball landed in the seats. It didn't appear to be clearly not a home run, yet that was a call, and because replay was not conclusive enough, they couldn't overturn the original call. Well, let's see if Castro can knock him in anyway. Kick the 1-1. Fouled off, 1-2. Correa attended Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, drafted by the Giants 10 years ago. Been with the Giants, the Padres, and now the Pirates, and he gets Castro for out number 2.
Perfect example of expanding that strike zone once you get ahead in the count. That slider off the outside corner with movement farther away from Castro, just couldn't lay off.
Rizzo with a long home run his first time up. Back of the stands and right. Just a few feet away from maybe bouncing one into the river.
The aggressiveness of the Cubs on the bases in the first 2 games of this series have definitely gotten the attention of Kevin Correa. Picked Clevenger off first base on an early break for second. Inside move with David DeJesus at second base. Let's take a look at our Nissan drive of the game. Len just mentioned it. Anthony Rizzo on an 0-2 fastball up and in. Buggy whips it to the back of the bleachers in right field. Get to your Nissan dealer for special offers. Nissan innovation that excites. Visit ChooseNissan.com.
Time to battle now for Rizzo. 0-2. And now a ball and 2 strikes.
Pretty sure he wasn't going to get a fastball up and in that time. That's what Correa tried last time.
Well, the other thing about this Wandy Rodriguez acquisition, not only do you add a top flight left-handed starter to your rotation, it puts pressure on everybody else to continue to pitch well. And practically for the Pirates, we're talking about maybe skipping some guys, giving them a little extra rest as they get into a long stretch of games without an off day in August. And bringing in Rodriguez certainly will help in that regard. No downside to having too many starting options.
Not at all. And Wandy Rodriguez has been in the National League Central for a long time. He's very familiar with the opposing hitters that he's been facing over the course of his career. He's very familiar with the ballparks.
It's Ray Searage on the right, the pitching coach. 2-2. That'll get through, and DeJesus will score. And Rizzo's 2 for 2. Cubs lead 2-1. So DeJesus thought he had a home run, is able to score on the 2-out knock.
You mentioned earlier Anthony Rizzo and his video habit of watching his at-bats. I think it's paid some dividends. He looks much quicker, waiting on the ball a lot longer today. He had gotten into a few bad habits at the plate, chasing some bad breaking balls. A lot of teams were throwing him one off-speed pitch after another, and he kind of got caught in between for a couple of days, but looks like he's back to his old self today.
One strike on Laher. Dale going with Rizzo and Laher back to back with Soriano out of the lineup. By the way, the home run replay is the 10th time the Cubs have been involved in a video replay, going back to 2009. Foul pop, that'll reach the seats off of third. Rizzo thought about it and then put on the brakes. Good decision.
Well, you still like to see the initial move towards second base. That goes all the way back to Mesa in spring training when Dale Swaim and his staff encouraged the players when they read the trajectory of that pitch in the dirt. Break for second base. That time Rizzo made the break for second, but hit the brakes.
4 strikeouts for Correa. The Cubs, however, get the lead again, 2-1. Gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to WrigleyvilleRooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF. Big day already for Anthony Rizzo. 2 hits, including a home run and 2 knocked in. He was hitting .211 without an RBI on this trip prior to today. 2 strikes on Clint Barmas. Dempster struck out the side in the second. Getting a lot of swings and misses today. Dempster's scoreless streak, which ended in his last start, was the longest by a Cubs starter since Ken Holtzman in 1969. Also 33 innings. Barney makes the play.
Hey, Cubs fans, if you're going to manage a game along with Dale Swain, log on to WGNTV.com right now and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you're watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more.
A strike on the pitcher, Correa. Oh, and 2. Game number 374 for Ryan Dempster as a Cub, his 154th start. Campana in left.
Got a huge reaction from the crowd here at PNC Park, but Correa doesn't have a lot of pop.
Well, this place has once again started to fill up. They're getting great walk-up crowds with the Pirates in contention. 27,000 plus Monday night, over 32 last night. Might be around there or a little bit more today. I think the biggest practical problem in being a Pirate fan on a day like this, probably not going to want to wear black because of the sun and the heat, but if not, you got to wear yellow.
Those are pretty much your choices in this town.
Yeah. I suppose you could wear a white Pirate shirt. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, you could just have a black or yellow cap and a shirt and just have removable decals when you go to a Pirates, a Steelers, or a Penguins game.
A little Velcro patch on the front, and just stick the appropriate logo depending on which game you're attending. There's the white Pittsburgh shirt. See, that gentleman knows what he's doing.
They'll take Rizzo right to the bag, and Dempster has given up one hit, just the homer in the first inning. Cubs lead 2-1.
Upcoming Saturday, watch the Cubs battle the Cards at 12:05, and be sure to get here early. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Cubs t-shirt courtesy of StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of Cubs.com.
Steve Clevenger fouls away. We're underway in the fourth. Cubs leading 2-1. Outscored the Pirates 9-2 so far in this series. This upcoming homestand will mirror this road trip. Cardinals and the Pirates. Let's hope the Cubs can play a lot better this weekend than they did this past weekend in St. Louis. McCutchen in center. Clevenger retired. not see Matt Garza in this upcoming Cardinals series. He comes back from the right triceps cramping, getting his treatment back in Chicago. Cubs will reevaluate on Friday. His wife is due with their 4th child. Might be induced tomorrow. We'll have more information on his next start coming up this weekend. That will be caught by Alvarez to get Valbuena. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Two quick outs. Darwin Barney will bat. Cole Hamels deals 6 years, $144 million with a vesting option for 2019. Largest contract by a Philadelphia athlete. How about that? 2-1 Cubs. Hit by a pitch from Felix Hernandez. So he's going to be out a while. I mentioned Hanley Ramirez goes from the Marlins to the Dodgers, and Cole Hamels with that huge contract extension. Phillies are playing well. They've won 3 in a row, but they're still in last in the East, 10 games under 500. Lance Berkman has a bruised right knee. He got hit by a pitch last night in St. Louis. One and one on Neil Walker, who took Dempster deep for his 9th homer back in the opening frame. Barney will cut this one off and throw to Rizzo for the out. 9 in a row now retired by Dempster. Pirates now in this series are 8 for 69. allowed back.
Boy, thinking about that Cole Hamels contract and some of the other long-term big money contracts that have been signed, Andrew McCutchen is probably going to end up being a monster bargain for the Pirates. He signed for $51.5 million. Now that doesn't sound like a bargain to the normal person out there, but by baseball standards, he is going to be one of the cheaper superstars in the game.
Now the Hamels deal, the second highest figure for a pitcher. CC Sabathia got $161 million from the Yankees prior to 2009. The Phillies have 3 starters making at least $20 million per year: Halladay, Lee, and Hamels. And according to the AP story, Bobby passed up more money, possibly on the open market, to stay in Philly. Imagine that. There's Garrett Jones on deck, 3-2 on McCutchen. Didn't mean to, as he taps one to Dempster.
Come watch the Cubs take on the Cardinals on Sunday afternoon at Wrigley Field. Game time is 1:20, but as always, be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 fans at the game will receive a Cubs scoreboard and wall clock, compliments of MasterCard. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. It's pretty slick. I like that clock.
You can have your own Wrigley Field scoreboard. At least part of it.
Yeah, I don't think I have room in my apartment for the whole scoreboard, but certainly fit that clock in there.
Split. 1-1 to Jones. Dempster keeps getting ahead in the count. There it is. Got him on the splitter. Inning over. 5 strikeouts for Dempster as the Cubs lead as they go for the sweep. The Curious Bank, member FDIC. Ryan Dempster has allowed one hit. That was a homer in the first inning. He has a 2-1 lead as a Cubs bat here in the 5th inning. Whatever off-field distractions Ryan's been dealing with, it certainly has not affected his performance today. Going back to the Hanley Ramirez deal, coming what, a day after Omar Infante and Anibal Sanchez were dealt to Detroit. I have to say the Marlins season's been the most disappointing in baseball. Think about new ballpark, a huge payroll, new manager. Campana's out 4-3. In some ways, the National League East standings could be considered upside down from what a lot of people thought. Phillies and Marlins right at the bottom.
Yeah, generally you count on that honeymoon period with a new ballpark, and as you mentioned, a new manager, higher payroll, almost double what their payroll was last year. And the honeymoon didn't last long in Florida.
I'm sure I'm just forgetting one particular year or team, but I can't think of another situation previously just like it. They give Reyes 6 years. They went hard after Albert Pujols, didn't get him. Signed Mark Burley. They just traded for Carlos Lee. I mean, everything they've done or had done up until a couple of days ago was veterans were going for it. And to have it all kind of end just over halfway into a season is pretty remarkable as Dempster grounds out.
Not to mention the new manager, a Hispanic manager that they hired to hopefully lure some more fans into the ballpark, and he immediately offends over half the population of Miami. Not quite the way they were hoping it would work out.
Here's our fourth upcoming Cubs schedule as we look at the weekend versus St. Louis coming up. And we will look at it in a second. Take two. Our fourth upcoming Cubs schedule as we take a look at the upcoming weekend against the Cardinals. We're back on WGN Sunday. Leadoff man at 1 o'clock. Ford, manufacturers of more fuel-efficient vehicles than any other brand. Check them out at your local Ford store or online at localfordstores.com. Outside 1-2. I will add this about the Marlins. Their baseball operations department, headed by Larry Beinfest, has been pretty much intact since Jeffrey Loria bought the team. And I think Larry and his entire staff's best attribute is finding good young players in other teams' organizations. Obviously, the free agency side of things didn't work out. But probably would be best to pay attention to the prospects they are getting in return, because he's had a really good track record in that regard. Just may be a few years before those guys are ready. Every GM has a strength and weakness. I think about Brian Sabian. Think about the deals he made in the offseason. He gets Melky Cabrera, Angel Pagan, and that is clearly his strength. He has always looked to bring in good, solid veterans. And even the ones that don't work still work out a little bit. Barry Zito's still there. Gave him a ton of money. Zito's won 8 games this year with a 3.75 ERA. McCutchen will have room right at the edge of the warning track, and the inning is over. Another pitcher's duel here in Pittsburgh. 2-1 Cubs. Bank, member FDIC. Dempster, since the home run hit by Neil Walker, has retired 11 straight. Ooh, that one knocked down by Demp. I think he did get his glove on it, and he throws out McGee. Hard comebacker.
Rizzo with a quick check on his pitcher. Demps tells him he's all right. Sinker ball pitchers are usually better defenders because they're used to having that ball come back their direction. That time Ryan Dempster squeezes his legs together, gets that glove down there, knocks the ball over toward the first base side, and able to easily get Casey McGee at first base. Appears to be okay.
Here's Alvarez. First time he hasn't swung and missed. First at bat, he whiffed on all 3 pitches. You see, when he connects, he does damage. 21 home runs. Following this Josh Hamilton situation in Texas.
What's going on?
Well, he got off to a great start this year. He was the American League Player of the Month the first 2 months of the season, but he hit .223 in June. And in July, 161. Team president and CEO Nolan Ryan the other day raised some eyebrows and saying that he felt that Hamilton is giving away some of his at-bats, swinging at bad pitches early in the count. As Alvarez grounds out, well, Ron Washington agreed with the Hall of Famer. Clearly, Hamilton's frustrated as he's slumping, but he's just not having consistent quality at-bats every time up.
Time to take a look at our Xfinity catcher profile, protecting home for the Pirates and the Athletics. Manny Sanguillen, 3-time All-Star, 2 World Series championships in 71 and 79. Finished his career with 1,500 hits, his .296 career average, the 4th best by a catcher since World War II, 10th highest all time. Xfinity Home offers state-of-the-art features that help you stay connected to your home and family anytime, anywhere.
You and Kenny Albert here earlier this season chatted with Manny during the game.
Yeah, well, home run balls were flying all over the place. Yeah,
his grill's back in that area.
Well, I'll tell you, not only was he a great catcher on some great Pirates teams, he liked to have a good time. He really enjoyed himself playing the game of baseball. You know, that old cliche, he would have played for nothing. I really think Manny Sanguillen would have played for nothing. He was just a ball player.
We are family Pirates in 79. The Leland Bonds Bonilla Pirates in the early 90s. It was the last time this city saw a winner on the baseball field. 92, their last above 500 campaign. Deep left, off the pole, and a home run. On a 3-2 pitch, McHenry ties it as he bangs one off the left field foul pole. 2-2. You'd have to say it's been all or nothing for the Pirates offense. 2 hits, both have been home runs.
Mike McHenry with his 8th home run in 115 at bats this year. That's going to get the attention of some teams out there. A backup catcher doing that kind of damage with the bat.
Past Dempster. Barney will pick it up, and he gets Barmas to end the inning. But the Pirates knotted up at 2 on the McHenry blast. Player, we've got to talk defense. Alfonso Soriano, among major league left fielders, you see all the errors. He has 0 this season. The Anything's Possible player brought to you by the Illinois Lottery, who each day make anything possible. And you look at some of the advanced metrics, UZR 150. I mean, Dave McKay gets a lot of the credit. Soriano and McKay have meshed very well. But the UZR 150 runs above average, defensively saved. Soriano leading all left fielders. So the numbers have matched what we have seen with our eyes.
You know, there's instances, Len, where a guy goes through an entire season without making an error or making very few errors. But if you look at how much ground did he cover, how many plays did he make, and maybe he wasn't doing as good a job out there as the lack of errors would indicate. As Castro grounds to short for Barma, should be no problem. Throw in the dirt, picked by Casey McGee. Soriano not only has not made an error this year, but he's made plays that a lot of left fielders would not get to. And certainly he didn't get to him in the past. It's just remarkable the improvement that he's made with the glove out there in left field this year. And as you said, a lot of the credit has to go to Dave McKay, but most of the credit goes to Alfonso himself for putting in the work.
If you look at Fangraphs and their UZR 150 list, you look at Alfonso being an above average left fielder in 07 and 08 because he threw out so many guys from left. So his defense and the positive aspects of it, his first 2 years with the Cubs, by and large came from his arm. This year, it's been the range and the jumps and the positioning. And I'm not saying he's going to win a Gold Glove, but keep in mind they have changed the rules for outfielders. It's no longer the top 3 outfielders. You actually have a left fielder, a center fielder, and a right fielder. And left field, you know, the bar is not particularly high. Usually that guy is your worst defensive outfielder for sure, and maybe your worst defensive player on the entire diamond. So his competition would probably be Carlos Gonzalez, Ryan Braun. Gerardo Parra won it last year, but is not an everyday player this year with the Diamondbacks. Would that be something? If he won a Gold Glove?
That would be something.
People can scoff, but he's had that type of year in left.
Well, and people do scoff, to use your word, when we talk to broadcasters from the other teams when we're playing, and they'll say, what's new with your ball club? The first thing I always say is Alfonso Soriano is a good left fielder now, and they scoff. But we see it on a daily basis. Tremendous, tremendous improvement. Hey, if you're hitting the road, we'll take the Cubs with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Cubs out-of-market game live, online, and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Cubs.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Budweiser. This year, Budweiser will donate $5,000 for every Cubs walk-off win to Folds of Honor. Find us at facebook.com/Budweiser to see how you can help support our nation's soldiers and veterans. 2-2 tie as we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Kevin Correa's afternoon is finished. Josh Harrison will take the at-bat in the 9th spot in the lineup, leading off here in the bottom of the 6th.
He takes ball 1. Harrison came up through the Cubs organization, never did make the major league club. Inside. 2 balls and a strike. So the Pirates will rely on their bullpen, which has been excellent this year, for the rest of the way today. Left center, and Campana's wheels made that a relatively routine play for him. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Two here in the 6th. Good bounce back outing for Ryan Dempster, who gave up 4 runs in his last start in St. Louis. Wesley fouls back. Swing and a miss on a splitter. Took a little extra off this one. 79 miles an hour.
Now, pitchers can control the velocity on that split-fingered fastball based upon how far they spread their index and middle finger.
That's a base hit. First hit for the Pirates, it has not left the yard. Only their 10th hit of this entire series.
We'll have to keep an eye on Presley over there at first base with 1 out in the inning. He has base stealing speed, 9 out of 13 on the season. Pirates really haven't had enough base runners to tell whether Clint Hurdle wants to be aggressive on the bases or not in this series.
First base coach Luis Silverio assisting. Always love this line. Luis Silverio had a cup of coffee in 1978 as an outfielder with the Kansas City Royals. 8 games he hit .545. That was his major league batting average. 6 for 11. His career OPS was .1524. A great career.
It's more like a pot of coffee.
35 years in the Kansas City organization for Silverio. Hamster working from the stretch for the first time today as we play the bottom of the 6th.
That can be a concern when you get this deep into a ball game and the pitcher hasn't thrown a pitch out of a stretch since he left the bullpen before the game. Pitchers will work out of the stretch in the bullpen before the ball game as they take their warm-up pitches. At some point after their arm is loose and they've thrown all their pitches, they will simulate runners on base. Throw a dozen or more pitches out of the stretch position just to make sure you're mechanically sound before going out to take that game mound. But now he's pitched here into the 6th inning without working out of the stretch.
Foul.
Very nice stop by the ball girl down the right field line. Tough two-hopper, plays the big bounce. And give it to a kid.
Her last name is Ball Girl. Do you see that on the back of her jersey? How convenient. Swing and a miss. Splitter working well. 2 down.
Another one, it appeared he took a little extra off that time. 80 miles per hour. A lot of downward movement. Obviously, the slower you throw that pitch, the more downward movement you're going to have. Talking about that split-fingered fastball, Roger Craig, my former manager in San Francisco, was kind of the guru of the split finger, and he used to get upset when people would call it a fork ball because in his mind it was 2 completely different pitches. A fork ball, if you can imagine taking a baseball, spreading your fingers and splitting the baseball in half. That was a fork ball, and the rotation on a fork ball was very similar to a knuckleball. It didn't have a lot of rotation. A split-fingered fastball is just what it sounds like. You take your normal fastball grip on the baseball and just spread your fingers out a little bit further. That way, instead of the ball coming off the tips of your finger on a normal fastball delivery, it kind of comes off the inside of your fingers, takes off some velocity, takes off some rotation, and causes downward movement.
Right down the middle, 1-1. On McCutchen. Danny Corpus and Scott Main are up. Steven Strasburg on his game today in New York. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 11 strikeouts. As the Nationals lead 5-1, they head to the 8th. McCutchen couldn't hold. 1-2. Call made by the plate umpire Andy Fletcher. McCutchen not happy about that.
I think McCutchen may be showing some frustration after what has been a really rough series for him. Obviously, he's hitting somebody, but he just does not look good at the plate in this series. He's chased some bad pitches. He's put some balls into play weakly. Let's win this ball game and get out of town before he heats up again.
Yeah. Pirates will be getting out of town as well after this one. We've got a 10-game, 11-day trip coming up. Houston, Chicago, Cincinnati. That'll get down in front of DeJesus. And it'll send Presley to third. So McCutchen with his second hit of this series. And the first one to leave the infield.
Swing looked like it had a little anger behind it.
Yeah.
The quickest swing we've seen from McCutchen in this series on a fastball that was up out of the strike zone. Just tomahawks it into center field. "14 steals on the season for McCutchen. He has been caught 7 times, including game 1 of this series. After the infield hit against Jeff Samardzija, Giovanni Soto promptly gunned him down at second base on a steal attempt.
And in this spot with 2 outs, Corey Hurdle might try to steal a run by sending his runner from first and maybe trying to get McCutchen in a rundown. We'll see if Clevenger even throws through. Not running, and Jones takes ball 1 outside.
Well, if Hurdle chooses to go in that direction, he's got the right 2 base runners, probably the 2 fastest runners on this Pirates roster in McCutchen and Presley.
Pirates have their first lead of the series. Garrett Jones with a double. And it's 3-2.
That happy zone for Garrett Jones. We talked about it earlier in the game. He loves that ball down on the inner part of the plate. Golfs that one down toward the right field corner. Jones maybe taking a little liberty there on Brian LaHare. Just turned the corner at first base, didn't hesitate at all, and motored into second base with an RBI double.
Two more in scoring position for McGee.
This is one of those rare occasions where Ryan Dempster might choose to pitch around a right-handed hitter, Casey McGee, to go after the on-deck hitter, a left-handed hitting Pedro Alvarez, because Alvarez is much more of a free swinger. Also, Casey McGee's had some good history against Ryan Dempster. We'll see how it plays out.
20 pitches here in this 6th. DeJesus went back, now comes in, and that's it. 3 hits, 1 run, and the Pirates have their first advantage in the set, 3-2. That's our Bud Fan Cam brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. Ryan Dempster not too happy after giving up the go-ahead run. Moving on up, Janet Dubois, as we honor Sherman Hemsley, who passed away, star of The Jeffersons. Jared Hughes, new Pirates pitcher. When Dempster really upset. (2-0) to Valbuena. Sinker on the outside corner. A little television history for those who don't remember. George Jefferson, that character, started on All in the Family. The Jeffersons was a spin-off. Played in prime time for over a decade, which is a great run. You see the numbers for Hughes.
Power sinker, power slider from that low 3/4 arm slot. George was married to Wheezy.
Yeah. Called strike 3. As Valbuena's frustrations continue. You be the judge. Too close to take.
Yeah, McHenry didn't do his pitcher any favors the way he received that particular pitch, but struggles continue for Valbuena, and now home plate umpire Andy Fletcher's hearing it from the Cubs dugout.
Darwin Barney bounces foul. I got a tweet from somebody who goes by Sports Goggles. We're talking about Alfonso Soriano and the defensive spectrum. I said, Len, I always thought right field was for the weakest outfielder. My Little League coach always put me there. Well, that's true. Why does it change as you get older?
Well, right field, there are longer throws. So
yes,
generally your right fielder is going to have a stronger throwing arm than your left fielder.
I had never thought of it that way. That's right. Little League, the weakest defender usually gets put out in right.
That's because more hitters are right-handed than left-handed. They're more likely to hit the ball to left field than right field. That would be my guess.
Sometimes the right fielder in Little League is picking up grass, throwing it around, seeing if his parents are there.
Chasing butterflies.
Right. Just enjoying the nice afternoon.
Yeah, watching the game going on the other field behind him.
Then the ball is hit out to right, and his back is turned to home plate.
I think I had a few guys like that with the Diamondbacks.
Campana bounces. Walker will throw in time to get him. What a play by Walker. 3-2 Pirates in the 7th. In-game box score. The Pirates have been scrappy today. They've come back twice and now lead 3-2 for a limited time. Get exceptional lease deals on a new 2012 BMW 3 Series. Visit chicagolandbmw.com for more information. Ryan Dempster done 6 innings, 3 runs, and left-hander Scott Main takes over here in the last of the 7th.
Left-handed hitting Pedro Alvarez leading off the 7th for the Pirates. Could be Scott Main's only hitter to face as Manny Corpus continues to warm up in the Cubs bullpen. Michael McHenry, Clint Varmus to follow Alvarez, both right-handed hitters, and then the pitcher spot.
So lefty against lefty. Main works from the stretch with nobody on. And the breaking ball misses low and outside. Manny Corpus trying to stay cool out in the bullpen. Now 3-0. Comes a 3-1. Hit hard on the ground, but Barney will make the play.
Hey fans, tickets are still available for the 2012 Cubs season, including the next homestand against division rivals the Cardinals and the Pirates, beginning this Friday through August 1st at Wrigley Field. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office.
It will be Corpus for Maine, who did his job. 3-2 Pirates in the 7th.
Recognize Ron Westfall Chevrolet for their support of Oswego baseball and softball. Ron Westfall Chevrolet and your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers are supporting leagues and young ball players in their communities through the Chevy Youth Baseball program. From the big leagues to the youth leagues, Chevy is truly the official vehicle of baseball.
Manuel Corpus with a strike on Michael McHenry, who tied the game with a foul pole shot in the 5th. And he's telling Steve Clevenger, that's the pitch I want. Then after McHenry had vacated, and he takes his time out there. When he's ready to go, he'll go. Enjoyed being around him. Easy going. Kind of feels like he has a new lease on life after Tommy John surgery. Back in the big leagues here with the Cubs. Did not pitch at all last year. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 2 down.
The changing of arm angles. Throws his fastball, his changeup, and his slider from every conceivable arm slot. This time drops down almost all the way to sidearm and throws a changeup for strike 3.
Slider strike on Barmes.
It's funny, I was talking to James Russell in St. Louis just about baseball, pitching, and coming out of the bullpen in general. He says he has to try to calm himself down out there on the mound. Sometimes he gets a little caught up in the action. He says, I wish I could be more like Manny. He could fall asleep in the middle of his delivery.
Yeah. Calm, cool, and collected.
Yes, indeed.
You grow up in Panama and you're a relief pitcher, so your hero has to be Mariano Rivera, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. I don't think his heartbeat ever rose. At least it didn't look that way, even in big spots. Hard. Oh, what a pick by Darwin Barney on the short hop. He backhands and gets Barmes. What a play. We'll head off to the 8th with the Pirates leading 3-2. Another Gold Glove-like play by Barney. leads National League second baseman in fielding percentage. Hasn't committed an error in 83 games and counting. And what a great play he made.
That ball was hit like a bullet off the bat of Clint Barmas. Just a few steps to Darwin's right, but a tough hop. He was able to come up at the very last instant, make the backhanded play, and throw on in time to get Barmas.
Right-hander Jason Grilli against pinch hitter Reed Johnson. Reed hitting for Corpus. Here we go. Fastball missed.
See the numbers for Jason Grilli this season. He's another part of the reason the Pirates bullpen has been so good this season. Just a two-pitch guy, a fastball and a slider. 56 punch-outs in 36 2/3 innings.
They don't give up much in this ballpark. Best home record in the majors, 32-16 coming in. 2.37 staff ERA at home. Cubs snap their 8-series home winning streak with wins in the first 2 games. Johnson bunts it foul.
We talked about the Pirates bullpen last night. The Reds lead the majors with a 2.48 bullpen ERA going into play today. The Pirates second with a 2.56 ERA. They've given up only 1 run in their last 7 games, spanning 18 2/3 innings.
Fouled out of play. Last night, Reed Johnson picked up his 12th pinch hit of the year, tied for first in the majors. Had a lot of conversations about this year about the Cubs' defensive positioning on the infield. Dale Swain really believes you cut off those holes between third and short and second and first. Doesn't normally guard the lines a lot. You see a lot of teams do this, so the holes are open, but Clint Hurdle's just trying to avoid one right down the line for an extra base hit to put the tying run in scoring position. Almost on cue, he lines it foul. What was your philosophy in this situation late?
You know, I'll be honest with you, Len. A lot of times I deferred to my infielders because I had Mark Grace at first and Matt Williams at third, 2 of the best to ever play the game at their positions, and they knew the opposing hitters. They knew the strength of our own pitcher on the mound, but we played it pretty much by the book. In a 1-run ball game, you wanted to avoid the extra base hit, so we played our corner infielders a little closer to the line. Not as exaggerated as you see some teams, however. Occasionally you'll see those corner infielders standing nearly on the foul line.
Reed Johnson strikes out. One out here in the 8th, and it's to Jesus. Well, David hit one out of the ballpark in the 3rd inning. Looked like a home run. Sounded like a home run. Joe West said no. A fan interfered with it. They did review it on replay and upheld that call. It was a double. DeJesus would later score that inning on a single by Rizzo, and he lines one over Walker and into right center.
Drive by DeJesus back in the third inning. A fan reaches over in right center field and makes contact with the baseball. I still think had he not touched that ball, it clears the yellow stripe, but upon review, Joe West sent him back to second base, where he ended up scoring anyway on Anthony Rizzo's base hit.
A one-out base runner for Castro. Swing and a miss. Alvarez still hugging that line at third.
Clint Hurdle thinking it's going to take an extra base hit to score David DeJesus from first base. A single through the hole between third and short will more than likely be cut off by the left fielder, and for sure hold DeJesus at third, if not at second.
Castro came in with a 15-game hitting streak against the Pirates. That's in jeopardy. He's 0 for 3. Scored both Cubs runs on Monday. Hit a home run in the first inning last night. A long pause by Grilli before the pitch, and it's low. 1-1.
Starlin looking to break through against Jason Grilli as well. 3 previous at bats, 3 strikeouts.
Kenry got in front of that slider. 2-1. Tony Watson, the lone lefty in the Pirate bullpen, getting ready with Rizzo and then LaHare and Clevenger and Valbuena. Got a bunch of lefties stacked here in this Cubs lineup today. Three and one.
There's no doubt that Anthony Rizzo is the number 3 hitter for the Cubs, has been since he got to the major leagues and probably will be for a long time. But this is one of those situations where if your first left-handed hitter is a guy you will pinch hit for, you can bait that opposing manager into making that pitching change.
Popped into center, and it's McCutchen's play. And with 2 down, it will be Rizzo.
So Clint Hurdle's trying to make up his mind whether to make the change or not, kind of pacing around in that third base dugout. Jason Grilli has been so good for him this year against righties and lefties. It looks like he's going to roll with the veteran right-hander. Now, for example, if this were Luis Valbuena hitting in this spot and Clint Hurdle makes the change to the left-handed pitcher, you could drop Joe Mather in there, any one of your right-handed pinch hitters. But I think everybody around baseball knows that Anthony Rizzo is not a guy who's going to be taken down for a pinch hitter.
Here comes the 0-1 outside.
Solid numbers either way for Jason Grilli.
Missed the corner at 95, 2-1.
McHenry had already moved out to the outer third of the plate to begin with. Reached to his left to receive that pitch. Tried to make it look like a strike, but well off the plate.
I was reading an Sports Illustrated article from a few weeks ago, not about this particular topic, but there was one little aside on a minor league catcher who ended up in Braves spring training. And he was going to catch Greg Maddux. And he said, if I'm set up on the outside corner and we get to 2 strikes, do you want me to move more outside? And Greg replied, no, I'll decide when I miss. Left field, Presley coming over, but he will not have a play. That sounds so much like Greg, doesn't it?
Yep.
So just set up down the middle. I'll decide when I want to miss. The brilliance of Greg Maddux was that his philosophy was always way more simpler than you would imagine it would be. But it was so simple, it was brilliant. How do you repeat your mechanics? I throw a lot. Okay.
Yeah. And his combination of pitches, Tim McCarver described it very well in a playoff game years ago when Greg was pitching for the Atlanta Braves. If you can picture the inside and outside corner of the plate and draw an X on them, that was the movement he had on his pitches. He could throw his sinker on either side of the plate and throw a cut fastball or a slider in exactly the location with the opposite movement. So it was almost like drawing an X on each corner. He could make the ball move whichever way he wanted. Change speed so effectively. Really the only weakness in Greg Maddox's game as a pitcher was his ability to slow down the running game, but he figured, hey, I'll get 3 outs before that guy can steal his way around the bases.
It was almost by design. That's a great backdoor breaking ball to get Rizzo and get Grilli out of the inning. Still 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Brian Dempster Gave up 3 runs, 6 innings of work today, but would be on the hook for the loss. Not real happy when his outing was finished. Anthony Rizzo with his 5th homer of the season, a blast in the first inning. But Walker and McHenry have connected for the Pirates. Visit your local Chicagoland Honda dealer today and test drive a 2012 Honda Accord. Well, really, for the first time all year, Sean Camp with quite a break in between outings. This is his first appearance in a full week. Last outing was last Wednesday, a third of an inning against the Miami Marlins. Gorkys Hernandez with his first at bat. As it fouls off. Looking ahead to the Cubs' ninth, LaHare, Clevenger, and Valbuena due up. Hit hard on the ground, but it's gobbled up by Castro at short, and he throws across in time. Joel Hanrahan is a Pirate closer, and again the Cubs with 3 lefties due up. Don't forget Ron Santo Day coming up Friday at Wrigley Field. A 121st pitch against the Cardinals. Cubs honor the Hall of Famer. Bunted foul by Presley. Presley went to Ole Miss. 8th round pick back in 06. Slider for a strike. 33,935, the biggest crowd of the series, and this is the biggest crowd they've ever had in this ballpark for a 12:35 weekday start.
A lot of people ditching work this afternoon.
Yeah.
Easy thing to do here in Pittsburgh. The downtown businesses, you just walk right across the Roberto Clemente Bridge, and here you are.
The business person special. The goal is to go back to work after the game, but I don't know how many people will. Best laid plans, you know. Yeah, we'll go over, catch the ball game. We'll come back and finish up later. Some fans deciding that 3-2 lead in the 8th is enough.
I started to say earlier when I walked back home last night, I went down to the next bridge, the Fort Pitt Bridge, and looking back to the ballpark, the lights were still on. Fans were filing out. Something you haven't seen here in Pittsburgh in a long time, as Presley grounds harmlessly to Anthony Rizzo at first for the second out.
Here's Walker, who homered in the first, then grounded out in the 4th, struck out in the 6th. Play for Valbuena. 0-2 now on Walker. Bottom of the 9th in New York. 5-2 Nationals over the Mets. Phillies leading the Brewers 5-2 in the top of the 6th. Ricky Weeks just homered. And a strikeout as Camp shows no rust as they go 1-2-3. 3-2 Pirates to the ninth. Chicago Cubs baseball brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. The Illinois Lottery. Do you believe in the power of possibility? The Illinois Lottery. Anything's possible. And by Ford, manufacturers of more fuel-efficient vehicles than any other brand. Check them out at your local Ford store or online at localfordstores.com. Joel Hanrahan is on. You see 28 out of 31. Their bullpen has 35 saves collectively. Number 1 in the majors. Their percentage 85.4, 35 for 41. Also number 1 in the big leagues. And Brian LaHare shoots one out into right center. Deep. Caught. What a play by Hernandez. Man, can he fly. I think it's safe to say Garrett Jones doesn't make that play. Boy, he came out of nowhere, Bob.
Boy, playing Brian LaHare slightly to pull, had to make up a lot of ground to get to that ball in right center. He made it look easy, just gliding, reaching up at the last instant to make the catch right on the warning track. Rough AB that time for Brian LaHare, but the second consecutive at bat where he hit the ball right on the nose.
Yeah, flying to the warning track out in left center his last at bat. Steve Clevenger. Ball 1. Now Valbuena's on deck, but has really struggled lately. We haven't seen any indication of a possible pinch hitter. I wonder if Dale would consider Alfonso Soriano with his team down a run. We'll see.
Well, Soriano's 0 for 5 lifetime against Hanrahan with 3 strikeouts.
2-1 now to Clevenger.
Pirates closer with that power fastball, average velocity right at 96 this year. Also throws a real hard slider right around 88 to 90 miles per hour.
Inside, 3-1. Roller right to Neil Walker. 2 outs. And it is up to Valbuena. Kevin Correa would get his 6th consecutive win. Dempster on the hook right now. And Hammerhand trying to grab the save. One and one on Valbuena. Swing and a miss, and the Pirates salvage the series finale. Cubs take 2 of 3 to drop a 3-2 decision this afternoon.